just in case you haven't heard earlier on, it's the Headliner Show. It's a special afternoon slot with Pete Cole, my guest here in the studio today.
Good afternoon, people.
And I have Dave Bailey from 5 O'Clock High and Vox Pop.
On the phone from Spain.
How you doing, Dave?
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. So we're talking today. We've got a special charity gig coming up again, and this time it's to celebrate the life of Michael Bailey, and it's at Woking Football Club.
That's right. On Saturday, 13th of August, and Dave on the phone is the little brother of Michael Bailey, and it's to celebrate his life. Isn't that right, Dave?
Well, that's right, except not so little, mate, all right? Yeah, the younger brother of Mike, yeah. So Mike used to play bass with me in both those bands, in 5 O'Clock High and Vox Pop. We started 5 O'Clock High together, and he joined Vox Pop later on when our bass player decided he wanted to leave. So, yeah.
We're going back to the 80s now, aren't we? Mid-80s? For 5 O'Clock High?
So 5 O'Clock High, that's right. I mean, as it was my brother, obviously, we've known each other all our lives, and we got together with some guys at school and kind of started a band that sort of evolved for that over the next couple of years into what became 5 O'Clock High in about 1985. So started off playing sort of local stuff in Woking, and by 86 we were getting offered gigs in London up at places like the Beetroot and the Tunnel Club and Rock Garden, did all the usual stuff. So that was really cool. Trouble with the 80s was it wasn't a particularly great time for live bands, and we kind of grew a bit disillusioned with the long journey up and down and sort of not coming away with anything. So kind of 5 O'Clock High stopped in about 87, 88, and then a couple of years later I got together with some more friends, John and Scott, and we formed Vox Pop, which was the second band in the 90s, beginning of the 90s.
And I came along, learning curve all round. I decided to... I'm not sure who approached who really, but I ended up trying to manage Vox Pop. Before, certainly a challenge, and before the internet, to try and book sort of a lot of dates that were run concurrently in the right sort of order of, for around the country kind of thing was always a bit of a chore.
But we did alright. You got a lot of gigs for us, so we did alright in that couple of years that you were our manager. We played an awful lot of gigs, and we actually kind of made a little bit of money out of it, which was quite funny.
Oh, where's my cut?
That paid for the recording.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, about because 5 O'Clock High didn't release any vinyl or CDs or anything, did they?
No, it was all just demos that we were sending off to record companies at the time.
Tapes.
Just on cassette and stuff.
But still sold respectively well. And Vox Pop actually did put out a single on Detour Records, which was quite a scoop at the time. Quite a well-known sort of mod and associated label based out of Chichester, I believe. Yeah,
we were actually the 7th release, so we got in quite early. I think only there were 2 or 3 bands had released stuff on Detour before then. Dizzy came down to see us. One gig, I can't remember what gig it was, probably the St John's Tavern in London.
Yeah.
He said he wanted to put out a single.
Oh,
so, that was good.
Should we hear some 5 O'Clock High?
I think we probably should.
Okay.
Go for it.
This is called Drowning. Here we go.
Yeah, the optimistically titled Drowning.
Let's go.
I hear you calling from a distant shore, with dreams tied to strong and sensations are far too wide. How do I reach you? How do I reach you? I've been lost in my mind, but this smashed out will. My thoughts were stronger than mine. My thoughts were stronger than mine. How do I reach you? How do I reach you? I don't think that I can weather this storm. It's wind through and ash my pride. If only I had some help. back, and despair has broken my heart. How do I reach you? How do I reach you? Trying's not so bad, 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 not so bad.
There we go. That was 5 o'clock.
I love your ring there.
With
I love
drowning.
your ring out.
Yeah, I've got just, as I always say, I've got more than 2 buttons to press. It becomes a nightmare. So this gig is a charity gig. Is that right?
Yes, because sadly, Dave's brother. Do you want to tell him, Dave?
Yeah, sure. So Mike, my brother, have been suffering for the last few years from a condition called pulmonary fibrosis. He didn't actually die of that, but it was degenerative disease, and he would have died of it eventually. But he died from other complications. He was ill and was taken to hospital, and kind of one by one his organs started failing, and he wasn't strong enough to be operated on. So it kind of killed him in a roundabout way. And so that's why we decided to choose this charity action for pulmonary fibrosis to be the recipients of the funds. So yeah, that's the charity involved. I think Pete's been in touch with them, and they've been quite kind of proactive about it too, right, Pete?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, give us permission, definitely.
Oh,
You have to be very careful. You have to get permission for charities as you get sued.
Yeah.
I've done that almost the hard way. We've got as it's 2 bands, the 5 O'Clock High drummer and Vox Pop drummer both kind of aren't involved. Greg from 5 O'Clock High, not in a particularly good place. Has done drum for years, and poor Martin,
Bournemouth.
and lives miles away. And Martin, the lovely man from Vox Pop, whose drum kit is being used on the night, but not by him, sadly. He has MS, the poor sod. So so we've got special. Oh, it's very sad news, but we've got an amazing drummer in on the night. A chap called Buddy Ascott, who was in the Chords, who were like a well-known mod revival band. I had the expression revival. Just really good songs. Very Clash meets the Jam, as Ed thought they sounded like.
Yeah.
He's drumming in as a one-off. I'm sure Mick would be incredibly proud of that fact, wouldn't he, Dave?
Yeah, he would. You know, the ironic thing is that we did. I mean, Mick had the Chords album that you're going to play the track off today, and I got Chords singles from when we were kids. So it's an honour. Mick would have loved it. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So
and on Martin, it is sad that we can't get Martin involved, but we keep in touch, and he's a great guy, and he was one of the he was there at the beginning of Vox Pop. In fact, we chose him from auditions because he was not the best drummer of the people we auditioned, but the one that was most like us. So it's a sad thing that he can't be doing it with us, but he's still definitely one of us.
And he's the first one to buy a ticket, bless him. So
yeah, good for him, mate. So make sure he bought it. No, didn't get it free.
And we're going to play one of the sides of the single out on Detour, Vox Pop, which Martin's on, of course. So this, you ready, Ed?
Yeah.
This we got Call Blimey. This is Call Blimey, which came out on Detour in '93. Was it, Dave?
93, and it actually got Detour had a write-up of their record company, Record Collector magazine, and Record Collector magazine actually pointed out that this single and one of the others that he had on there were the right direction for the label to be taken. So there you go.
Yay!
And on that note, we'll play the track.
Here we go.
If I'm not mistaken, she looked at me today. Hey, hey, I'd like to take her out, but each time I speak, my tongue gets in the way. I can't say the things that are in my head. I better left unsaid, so I said to myself, just what can I do to make her see? Can't you see? I'm feeling like a child, embarrassed by an elementary vocabulary. The things are in my head, I better left unsaid, so I said to myself, colorblind. Cover me, looks like she loves me. Cover me, looks like she loves me. Cover me, looks like she loves me. Cover me. She wouldn't want me anyway. I've got no style, I've got no class. The only book I never read is a dirty one under the bed. There's a girl I see each day, but I don't ever think she'll look my way. No way, I've got nothing going for me if I ever get a chance. God, blimey.
So there we go, that was Vox Pop with Call Blimey. They'll be playing that most likely at the event.
Oh, you bet. It's the hit.
The hit. it's the Smasher. Is that going to be left till later in the set? Is that the one people will be waiting for, or are you just going to come out and blow it on the first track?
I'll tell you what, we've got our only rehearsal on Thursday, and, so it might be quite late in the set, that one.
I should say,
depending on how it goes on Thursday.
In case we haven't mentioned before, the gig is Saturday the 13th of August at Woking Football Club, and the logistics of this event it is staggering, really. Dave's based from Woking originally, been in Spain for 20 years, but unfortunately because of COVID, Dave missed his brother's funeral last year. He was over and it just didn't tie out. He had to go back home. So this will be a bit of an emotional despite all the logistics, in that he'll be seeing people that he would have seen at the funeral, all the family. Any songs mean an awful lot to me. I mean, there must mean an awful lot, even more, to the man who wrote them. Yeah. Then to be playing those songs again after 30 odd years. I mean, I'm welling up a bit now just thinking about it. I'm a bit goosebumpy. So it's going to be in this heat as well. So I'm getting a bit emosh from you. Sorry. So
I spent the last week or so on Facebook looking up people who are coming to the gig to see what they look like now, because a lot of them I haven't seen for 30 years, and so I just want to make sure I can recognise them when I get there. That's my biggest challenge.
Maybe we should do little name badges on the door. Right, when a sticky label. Quite funny. So yeah, what else we need to say? Tickets are. Look at the press release. £7 in advance from We Got Tickets. If you look up wegottickets.com, I think it is, and look up Sound of Woking, which is what we're kind of calling this thing, this event. There's a bit more on the door. Doors open at 7:30. We should also mention we have the TR5s as the sort of the sole support, as in support band. That is, we've got a DJ called Neil Barker. We'll about him in a minute. And the guitarist in the TR5s is John, who is in the band with Dave. So John's playing twice. He'd be tired.
Well, it's actually his twin brother.
Buddy ho. Okay.
His uglier twin brother.
So and the TR5s feature everyone's friend Sid Stovald on acoustic guitar. They're kind of skiffle and rock and roll covers band. They do a couple of their own songs as well, warming everybody up. There's going to be a cracking raffle. I mustn't forget the raffle. Again, all money made goes to Pulmonary Fibrosis, Action 4 Pulmonary Fibrosis. We've got some amazing prizes, including a signed tour programme from Paul Weller, supplied by his sister Nikki. And as of yesterday, she's also offering two free tickets to the Jam and Style Council exhibition she's putting on in Brighton, which is starting quite soon, as a prize. So seeing it's a bit of a moddy kind of do, there's going to be I think there'll be a lot of happy people in there.
Yeah, that's
and
pretty cool.
Detour Records, we mentioned earlier, who put out an awful lot of records, I've donated a nice handsome bunch of CD singles and albums and such like. So there are more prizes promised, but they haven't arrived yet. But it's going to be that's a door, and it's going to be it's going to be a really good night. Should we hear a song from who put the chords now?
Yeah, I'll just keep talking while
I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to fill some time, as they say.
What I'm doing.
Next up, we're going to play a song from the Chords, whose drummer we're borrowing for the evening. We're going to put on their cover of Hold On I'm Coming, which Sam and Dave did. Was it the 60s, Dave?
It's originally by Sam and Dave, but also 5 O'Clock High did a cover of the Chords cover of this when we used to play. So we used
the cover of the cover?
The Chords played it. And we're going to be playing it on the night as well.
With the drummer from the Chords, so it's quite special. So this is...
we figured it'd be one song fewer for him to learn, so that's the reason behind that.
So yeah, Hold On I'm Coming from the Chords.
Don't you ever feel sad, little me, when time
that was the Chords with Hold On, I'm Coming. And as we've already heard, the drummer from that band will be playing this
Special
gig.
guest. What a legend he is. So, yeah, well, I've got to thank Buddy for like learning the songs remotely, blagging it. They had one rehearsal as a three-piece without Dave because he's stuck in Spain until 3 days before the gig. Is it 3 days or 2 days?
No, I'm coming over on Tuesday, but we're rehearsing 3 days. Two days on Thursday before the gig. So,
yeah, so what could possibly go wrong? But yeah, it's only great.
So I have to tell sorry, go on.
So after they had a 5-hour rehearsal last Sunday, the dog's trying to get out of the house now. I bet John Peel never had this problem, did he?
Sorry?
I said, I bet John Neal. Who's John Neal? John Peel never had a problem with the dog trying to escape the studio. What was you saying?
We're going to talk about the logistics of being a nightmare.
Oh, it's a challenge. Not a nightmare, it's a challenge.
Okay.
But yeah, the band had a rehearsal without Dave last Sunday on the hottest day ever. And it was interesting. I dropped a drum kit off because I know him a bit Buddy from the station because he doesn't drive, and his drum kit is in another studio for another band he's in. So we had to borrow a drum kit, which is Martin's from the original Vox Pop drummer. So I'm confusing myself here now. And it's logistical fun and games in that I had to get the kit there, take him from the station. Dave's coming over with next to no clothes because he can't afford the proper, what's the word I'm looking for, proper flight. He's doing it cheap as possible.
Next to no clothes. I mean, you probably sold a couple more tickets there.
Dave's doing it naked.
Yeah.
Or there'll be a few refunds. I'm not sure.
What else? Logistics. Yeah, just the singer guitarist being based in Spain for 20 years. And Scott who was in Vox Pop along with Mick at different times was all on board, and he bottled it because he hasn't played bass for like decades, which is understandable, and we've forgiven him. But in his place, we've got John Rollinson from Vox Pop, Sound of Woking, and the TR5s. His son has very nicely and kindly stepped into the breach, so we got a father and son combo going on as well on the night. And after hearing him, after I dropped him off, went back 5 hours later. John had lost his voice completely because he's kind of like he only sings on one song, which you hear shortly actually.
Right.
They certainly for a band that hadn't even met each other at midday, ended up coming up best buddies. The buddies with Buddy, sort of did there, and they were certainly cracking. Did a version of Pretty Impossible, which we'll play in a little while from Vox Pop, which is the other side of their single. I'm waffling. Should we hear a song?
Yeah, why don't we play another one from 5 o'clock high, All Hours.
Yeah, what do you remember about this, Dave? What's the story about this song?
Well, I remember recording it in a recording studio near Gatwick. We used to go down there on like an industrial estate, and I like it. It's a song about sort of our lives in Woking at the time, and if you listen to the lyrics, you'll see what Woking was like in the mid-1980s. It wasn't a pretty place, so All Hours.
It wasn't a pretty place in the 80s. Has it improved?
No, not really. But he escaped. He escaped. Ironically, I moved there.
That's me just losing all my listeners in Woking. Let's play the track.
A lot more violent. Put that.
Shall we believe what we hear? Easy money, we spend fast. Who says our jobs won't last? Get dressed up for Friday nights. Go to parties there and hit fights. We don't think past today. If we're lucky, we won't remember yesterday. With pleasures boxing, everything is history. And the girls chained to eternity, bound to slavery for eternity. We never had the shoes. And in life we don't we lose. We're just like mum, we're just like dad. We can't lose what we never had. The coppers and the pods, the bingo halls and the social clubs. One's on life and coming home, follows these to the TV show. Ours is the gold, the original sin, or a hat to the floor and let's go up and drink. A football match and the terrace kicking, who says it's only living. We never had the chance to choose. Any life we don't we lose. We're just like mum, we're just like dad. We can't lose what we never had.
So you're listening to Headliner Show Kick Radio special afternoon show. I've got another show coming up later, 8 p.m. It's a very, very late request show. I know I normally do that on the first Sunday of the month, but for various different reasons I've not been around this month, so I've moved it to tonight. So if you want to choose the tunes, come back to kickradio.co.uk/chat at 8 p.m. tonight, and you can choose the tunes. It can be any genre, it can be indie, dance, you can play Vox Pop. Whatever you suggest, and I'll do my best to play it. That's the way it works. So I'm still here, joined by Pete Cole and Dave Bailey, and
good afternoon.
We're talking music, indie, and mod, and
everything in between.
Everything in between. Because why not? Let's put the world to rights, eh?
Should we play the song we were talking about a few minutes ago?
Yeah, we'll play another song, and then we'll be back and we'll have a chat. So was this the B side to?
Was it or was it double A side, Dave?
It was a double A side, I think, because we couldn't decide which one to put on the B side. We thought, which one's the worst one? And they were both awful, so we thought, well, one of them's got to be... No, not really. Yeah, I think it's double A side because John wanted the royalties for half of it.
Good plan. Right, I'm going to play Pretty Impossible.
Tongue sweet lipstick, you paint a pretty picture. The innocence of your smile keeps me going through the night. I'd like to know you, I'd like to think, but I know you're pretty impossible. You're pretty impossible. Can't help but think of you when I'm with that someone else. Can't win cause that someone else is so close to me yet so far away. I'd like to know you, I'd like to ask, but I know you're pretty impossible. You're pretty impossible. I always get this far and stop, cause what I'm doing is supposed to be wrong. How can I be wrong if I want you? Oh, how I want you, but how I can have you. From time to time, wondering how it could have been they said that loving two's a crime. How come I'm still thinking about the pretty impossible? Oh, pretty impossible. She's pretty impossible.
There was Vox Pop with Pretty Impossible, as we now know was either the A or the AA side, we just don't know. But it was good, cracking track. So,
the Alcoholics Anonymous side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, welcome to Kick Radio. Obviously you've done many gigs over the years. Are there any that you sort of look back now and stand out and you think, oh yeah, I remember that was a cracking gig, or some of your favourites?
Or your worst?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. That's point of view, isn't it? I mean, some people might think the worst ones are the ones I thought were the best. But the best gig probably I ever played was the first time we played in London with Fibrosis in '86, I think, at the Beetroot in Greek Street, which was in the '80s. It was a big old new romantic club, and I think Spandau Ballet recorded the video to chart number 1 there.
Oh, right.
So playing on that stage, and also we took a coachload of people up from Woking with us, so we took about 50 people, packed the place out, and it was brilliant. It was half an hour of just great fun. And coming from the sticks, going up to London when you're 18 or whatever, 19, it's just wonderful. Vox Pop, I think all our gigs were fun because we didn't really take it seriously. We were in it to have a laugh more than anything. So, but Pete's reminded me of a couple of occasions that one at Farnham where the police got involved, and a couple of gigs in Basingstoke that were quite cool as well. I seem to remember.
Oh, Martins nightclub.
Was it that one?
Yeah.
There was like a little wine bar in the middle of the town.
Oh no, that was Magnum's wine bar.
Magnum's, that's it. Yeah. That was good. That was a laugh. I enjoyed that.
I think that.
So, yeah,
I think that changed the name.
And also the Civic Hall. Do you remember the Civic Hall gig we did, the showcase, where we didn't headline it, but we were last on in the showcase. It was brilliant. It was really good.
Rock Explosion.
That's it. Yeah, with Barney. Barney put that one on.
Yeah, Barney Jevons. Yeah.
And it was from that one that we got the support slot with Manfred Mann. So.
Well, tell us about that.
So
what happened with the Manfreds, Dave?
The Manfreds was interesting because they took about 5 hours doing their sound check because the keyboard player wasn't happy, and the sound guy eventually worked out that he didn't have one of the cables plugged in. And yeah, I know. And halfway through the set, Paul Jones stormed off because his microphone wasn't working, and he came back on that to apologise. And it was an interesting one. And we played first, and there was hardly anybody there, obviously, because it's like 7 o'clock. But it was fun, and we thought there would be an after-show party, but it turned out they're all teetotals and didn't appreciate us bursting in with a couple of bottles of wine asking for a bottle opener. So, fun days. So that night me and Mick started walking back to Nat Hill from Guildford. We got about not even halfway, and we had to phone up someone for a lift because it was too far. So that was fun. Happy days.
Oh, bless. Was that Vox Pop with Manfred Mann, or was that 5 o'clock high?
Sorry?
Who was it? Vox Pop or 5 O'Clock High with Manfred Mann?
Well, actually, by the time we got that, it was Summerby. We kind of morphed into Summerby.
I'd retired at that point, I think.
You had, I think. But when we played the original gig at the Civic Hall that got us that gig, you were still the manager then. But we didn't get it for ages because we were going to support Squeeze. That was our first choice, but they'd already booked someone to support them, so we had to wait to the next opportunity, which was to Manfred. It was a great gig. They're really good. I enjoyed their set. They're great old songs.
I saw Paul Jones in Fleet. He was part of the blues band, and after the event, he was doing signings and everything, and there must have been, I don't know, about 100 women in their 60s that had been listening to his radio show that were like, "Oh, it's so nice to meet you," and I could see him just stand there thinking, I can't believe I have to do this. So yeah, when you say rock and roll, the only time I've ever seen him was the least rock and roll situation.
Well, funnily enough, at that Civic Hall gig, during the sound check, there was a guy, an old boy, that come and he had a box full of records for them to sign, and he had brought his son with him as well for some reason. And so they all sat on the steps signing these records, and I kind of looked over, and it wasn't just Manfred Mann records. The bloke had just brought a box of records, getting them to sign these records, and he was there for about half an hour signing these records that weren't his. So interesting times.
Oh, that's cool.
So what do we have next?
Right, we're going to play another 5 O'Clock High track from back in the day, which I believe you will be playing this track at the gig, called Won't You.
Won't You, we recorded this in the same recording studio, but we hired a Hammond organ with a Leslie speaker to put on it, and when we got to the recording studio we couldn't get it through the door, so we had to take the door frame. We had to take the door frame off of the recording studio, which they let us do to get the Hammond organ in. It's only a little bit on there, but it's fun.
Yeah, I'm going to play that now.
In my head, but it's always easy about the set. And how you don't make it easy? I never got shot at good one. I make any excuse just to see you. There's nothing I wouldn't do. I feel as I'm in a play. Stuck with every happy scene cliche. Oh, won't you tell me where I am? Won't you tell me where I am? Please tell me where I stand. Please tell me where I stand. Won't you tell me where I am? Won't you tell me where I am? Give me some direction. We know how far you said that's nice. It takes us to melt the ice. Charlie's meant to be easier than this. We might have just a white wine kiss. But I hope I haven't got it wrong, 'cause my feelings are so strong. Maybe you just want me as a friend. If that's true, I'm so lonely. Won't you tell me where I am? Won't you tell me where I am? Please tell me where I stand. Please tell me where I stand. Won't you tell me where I am? Won't you tell me where I am? Give me some direction. Just like me, when it falls sign on a plea. Maybe I play the waiting game, just to see that you will say I can't take these for much longer. I admit that I'll be stronger. I know I should find someone new, but I'll never be able to forget about you. Won't you tell me where I am? Won't you tell me where I am? Please tell me where I stand. Tell me where I stand. Won't you tell me where I am? Won't you tell me where I am? Give me some direction.
There you go, you're listening to the Headliner Show on Kick Radio, live with Pete Cole and Dave Bailey of, as we now know, a variety of bands, 5 O'Clock High, Vox Pop, which is
and
those, and Summerby. But the gig on Woking Football Club, 13th of August, it's called The Sound of Woking, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm going to do my best to get there. I'm not DJing this one, but you've got to let other people have a chance.
Good point. Dave, who's DJing for us on here?
Alright, so we got Neil Barker, who I've known for donkey's years. He was for a friend of my cousin, Steve Lewis. They went around together a lot, and through Steve I got to know Neil. Neil used to come to 5 o'clock high gigs, used to take us to other gigs, so he got to see the Prisoners, the Untouchables, because of his contacts. And Neil's been DJing for a long time now, mostly on the London circuit, but just playing a brilliant variety of cool music, whether it's mod, acid jazz, reggae, whatever, rock and roll, the lot. And he's great mate and a great DJ, so really pleased to have him on board.
Oh, that's great. It's good.
Family do.
Yeah, real family do. I think earlier on off mic we were talking about the instruments and how it's all come together for this gig.
I mean, I'm not. It's a funny thing, it's like serendipity. How things work. When I was in 1984, I bought my first proper guitar, which was a Telecaster copy, a Tokai, which is a Japanese guitar, which I then gave up to start playing the Rickenbacker a couple of years later. John has since found that old guitar, done it up because it was in a bit of a state, and he's going to be using it on the night of the gig 30 years later, or 40. Not only that, but we're going to be using Martin's drum kit, and the TR5's bass player actually uses the same bass that my brother used in 5 o'clock high all those years ago. The actual bass, not the same model, but the actual bass. And we found this out because my brother plays left-handed, and he had to unscrew the strap holder and put it on the other side, and the hole is still there. So we definitely know it's that same.
But not a strap on, Dave.
So there you go.
No.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Thank you for that, Pete.
Yeah.
I shall
We went
treasure
there.
that mentally.
It's quite amazing. Like everything coming together. It's meant to be this gig. That's what I think.
I think that's the idea. Yeah, that's what I get out of it. There are lots of things that are kind of aligned. The stars are aligned on this one.
And it's going on for a year since he passed as well.
Yeah, it'll be exactly a year. I mean, he died on the 12th of August last year. So,
Day after.
Give or take a day, exactly a year later. So, again, full circle, and hopefully we can get some closure out of this, but obviously, we'll remember him forever. But this chapter, it closes with this gig, so it's going to be great.
Oh, it's going to be
There's
super.
going to be a lot of tears and a lot of happiness all at the same time.
Yes.
You can celebrate as much as commiserate, can't you? It's sort of like you can. That's the best thing about. I love about music as well. When over the years, as I've got older and everyone's got older, you start losing great people that you knew that were involved in music. But the music stays on, and you can continue to celebrate the terrific achievements of people within those bands and what they created. So I think it's going to be an amazing night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I mean, I think. Let me just take this opportunity to thank Pete as well for putting it all together. Without him, this wouldn't have happened. So
thank you very much.
From a chance meeting last year. So we went to see the TR5s together in Barnum, I think it was, wasn't it, Pete?
That's right. Yeah.
When I came over, and he sort of mooted the idea then, and everyone seemed to be up for it. So it was great.
Literally, I was like sitting opposite Dave. I thought, let's do a gig.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do, I mean, I'm crap at most things in life, but knowing people and knowing bands and making things, I don't give up very easily on a lot of things, especially musically.
Yeah.
So, here we go. It's been planning for a long time, and it's nearly here, which is like, whoa! I knew it would come around quickly, and it blew me well as. So what are we playing next, Ed?
We're going to play one more track before we close up this amazing show today. So this is Vox Pop. I believe this is going to be the opening track
on the night.
Carnival. Any stories about this one, Dave?
Scott wrote this one actually, and he wrote it on his bass, so I had to try and work out what chords to play to it. So that was quite a tricky one, but we got there. It wasn't that hard. A nice touch from me on the flute. I was going through some kind of Jethro Tull phase at the time, I suppose. Halfway through, I played the flute, and apart from that, I like the song. The lyrics are great. Scott was a pretty good lyricist actually. He wrote some good stuff. So good for that, and I'm really pleased we're opening with it. It's a kind of carnival of music and celebration. So that's cool.
Cool. Going to play that now.
songs of tragedy. A town so dull and dry, it's its own concrete paradise. Feel the quality of life. I'm at the carnival, where hate is disguised by roses. Carnival, deliver us from evil. I hear a mother cry, someone gets hurt in the queue for ice cream. A boy of 6 falls down, and 20 people rush up to replace him. I'm at the carnival, where hate is disguised by roses. Carnival, deliver us from evil.
So there we are, that was Vox Pop with Carnival. It's the headliner show, kickradio.co.uk, here with Pete Cole and Dave Bailey. So time is nearly up, that hour has flown past. So let's remind people again, where's the gig, Pete?
The gig is on Saturday 13th of August, being held at Woking Football Club. It's the Sound of Woking, who are the band featuring songs from Vox Pop and 5 O'Clock High. Frontman Dave Bailey was frontman in both those bands, playing the songs, all the hits. It's in memory of his brother Mick Bailey, who passed away last year. All funds raised are going to the Action for Pulmonary Fibrosis, very close to Dave and Mick's family. TR5s are supporting. We've got Neil DJing. There'll be a raffle to win some amazing prizes. Please come on down, celebrate, raise a glass for Mick. by David Pint or two. All the guys. Buddy Ascott is drumming from the Chords, which is a hell of a scoop, really. Lovely man, fantastic band he was in. Are we still talking? Yeah. Tickets are available from We Got Tickets. I'm still waffling. Tickets available for £7 in advance from wegottickets.com. A little bit more on the door. Get down there early. Make sure the doors open at 7. Hang on. Doors open at 7:30. There you go. Press release. It's going to be a fantastic tribute, fantastic night. A lot of effort's gone into this, so please come down and support us. Over to Dave.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Pete for offering to buy the first round as well, which is great. So if you are down there at 7:30, then drinks are on Pete.
He's good like that. He does that at all his gigs.
There's only way to get people there. It's going to be an amazing night, a bit of an emotional night, and fun all at the same time. There'll be cheers, there'll be laughter.
Yeah, so massive shouts out to Pete again. As I say, putting on these gigs, I appreciate it. I go to most of your gigs you've got on, and brilliant what you do for bands. And massive shouts also to Dave for joining us today, all the way from Spain. Probably
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
The furthest we've ever had a guest in this studio, so that's pretty impressive. Do come down in the area. I mean, if you're in London, you can get to Woking.
Easy to get to.
Anywhere, it's easy to get to. There's trains everywhere.
So we got people coming from Cornwall, people coming from all over the place. So it's dead easy.
No pressure.
If you don't know where Woking Football Club is, then shame on you.
Yeah, exactly.
They do nice food there as well. I've tasted the chips and burgers, very nice. In case that's your thing as well.
Yeah,
I like my burgers.
Indeed. Well,
Woking have got a home game as well, so if you want to go to the match, come down to Woking early, watch the home game, and then have a party in the evening.
Absolutely, yeah.
Are they National League now? Are they got back up? Can't remember. One below the Football League, I think. Or are they got down?
What was the conference, right?
Yeah.
Sweet FA.
Right. Thanks very much, guys, for joining me. Remember, I'll be back tonight.
Thanks, Ed.
At 8 p.m. UK time for the request show. If you want to choose a tune, come in kickradio.co.uk/chat, and I'll be back later on. Now we'll be handing over to another DJ. So thank you very much, and goodbye for now.
Thank you, Ed.
Cheers, Ed.